Kia Hyundai channel, welcome to our live video series. Today we're going to take a look at the 2022 Hyundai Kona. Now this vehicle has been updated. I've had trouble recommending this vehicle in the past compared to some other options, but now I highly recommend it, and I do highly recommend it, including knowing the fact that the Ioniq 5 is about to come out, and this is going to be a car, I'll make the prediction right now, this is going to be a car that many Ioniq 5 buyers will end up going home with because it's very good. And it may not be the newest and flashiest thing, but we'll explain why I'm predicting that many Ioniq 5 buyers will go home with this, because that car is coming out soon. Lots to talk about. All right, so here's how this works. In the next 3 minutes, we're going to let our live audience build. We're doing a live show right now. And if you're not watching live with us, you can feel free to skip ahead to the 3-minute mark if you want. If you're in Ontario and you're buying EVs, you might want to stick around for some of our news and notes just for the next couple minutes. And if not, feel free to skip ahead to the 3-minute mark where we'll get going on the content. I'm just going to quickly show you how to join us live if you're interested, so you can join us in a future day. And then we'll cover some news and notes. So if you want to join us live, you'll see our YouTube page. It has a standard video here. It could be any video right now, but right now this is our standard video. If you refresh the page at exactly 2 o'clock on a weekday, you will find that this standard page converts to the page showing our live video right there. We're going to click into that live video. You're going to have to watch an ad, and while we're watching that ad, going to promote our 3 stores that support us. Brantford Kia, Brantford Hyundai, and Owen Sound Hyundai are the 3 stores that support this channel. They make sure that we have cars, they make sure we have a place, they make sure all kinds of things. And technically that's where my paycheck comes from. So that's also a helpful thing for me. Although, if you're looking to buy in Ontario, they will treat you the same way they would treat me. So you can reach out to me after this video is done. There'll be a link in the description. And if you're in Ontario, we want to be your local dealer. We want to make sure that you understand your car, that we treat you well, and they'll treat you the way I would treat you. So that's how this works. There's your ad. And we've skipped ours. I do want to say a couple quick things about EVs. We know that there's, some may say this is an awkward time to film the Kona EV because that Ioniq 5 is coming. We also know the Kia EV6 is coming. If you're interested in the Kia EV6, it sounds like there'll be a window of opportunity to order that in the near future, not immediate future. But stay tuned to this channel. We'll update you, of course. And if you're in Ontario, we want to be your local dealer. You'll be able to order it through an online process, and you can choose your dealer. You don't have to live in Brantford to be forced into working with us. But if you want to choose us as your dealer, and I'm going to be blunt, I highly recommend if you're in Ontario, you choose us as your dealer. We can get the car to you. We will work with you. But we know these cars inside and out, and I think you'll be happy with your ownership experience if you choose us as your dealer. So that's an option. Same thing with the Ioniq 5. Right now, if you're choosing dealers, you can choose Brantford Hyundai or Owen Sound Hyundai, and those 2 dealerships, again, they're tied in with me. We all do some training. We want to make sure that your ownership experience on those EVs is top-notch. So there's a quick little ad. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, here we go. Hey everybody, it's Peter from the Kia Hyundai channel. We are taking a look at the Kona EV today. Kona EV has been updated. I highly recommend it, so let's dig right into it. While we're here, I forgot to ask some of my regulars that are on today, EV videos tend to have a few less people watching them live. So if you're an EV fan, maybe you can get an extra like in. That helps this video spread to other EV type people like yourself. And of course, the more views that these videos get, the more we understand that you want to see them and the more we'll do. All right, let me just show you the key fob very first. This is the key fob. You'll notice it has a remote start button. It's an identical to a gas vehicle car. And of course, the remote start on this car, we can do that in the bay. We'll lock the car first and we'll hold down this, lock it, and within 4 seconds, hold down the remote start and ba-da-dum, you can hear that gasoline engine running. Just kidding, no gasoline engine. So remote start on this vehicle, you can see it blinks, and right now it will make quite a bit of noise. I don't know if you hear that at all, but it is starting the climate system. So essentially, if you have an electric vehicle, even if you park it in a garage, you can remote start it from the key fob. You can also remote start it from your cell phone. Your cell phone, of course, has the Blue Link system. Very handy on an electric vehicle. You can see your state of charge. You can change your time of charge. So let's say you want to change your timing to charge only when your rates are most efficient, or maybe one afternoon you come home and the rates aren't efficient, but you need to charge anyways. You can change all of that into your app. So I also like it. It also reminds me when my wife leaves my doors unlocked on my car, so that's kind of helpful as well. All right, got some questions coming in already. We will get to them for a second, so just bear with me for a second as we go through the car a little bit, and then we'll show you questions. Why don't we turn off the remote start right now, which is very simple to do as well. Tap that down, and the car has essentially turned itself off. It is still locked, but of course the temperature has been set inside. So let's go take a look inside this car. I'm gonna put this key in my pocket and not have to take it out again the rest of the video. Overall, let's look at the outside of the car. It has had some upgrades and some updates that I think were maybe not necessary, but nice. Still the same kind of look over here. You've got the daytime running lights up here, headlights down there. They are LED headlights on this Ultimate trim, but there's a cleaned up front end. We're going to look at lights a little bit later on. This one is a demo model for Brantford Hyundai, so actually are the sales managers driving this car right now, a little bit later, but just a cleaned up look. And to be very honest, I felt like the Kona needed to be cleaned up a little bit. This definitely takes it into sort of modern car territory. You'll notice you've got the roof racks up top, so it's very functional, very practical car. Right now I've got the seats folded down in the back. We'll take a look at the trunk in a minute, but first let's jump into the actual car. It is still locked, so we're going to do a double tap there. That unlocks all the doors, not just the driver's door. When we do the double tap, we do a single tap. It could do just one door. This one has the two-tone interior, so a lighter color interior, which I really like on this Kona. Makes it feel a little bit larger there. Somebody says, hello, Peter, we haven't seen Teddy in the last few days. Can we include him today? You know what? I did intend to include Teddy. He's not in the room right now, so maybe if someone from my dealership's listening, they can bring Teddy to me. If not, we'll go get him a little bit later. Good point. Teddy is our trunk measurement tool. We'll pull him in. All right, down here, powered seat with a lumbar and nice color seats. And because Hyundai wants you to know this car's a little special, blue stitching on there. Shall I phone? Yes, you should. The blue stitching in there indicates it's an electric car, and of course the detail in these seats is a perforation. Those perforations are functional. There's ventilated seats in this model as well. Because it's an electric car, I can start the car up, which means foot on the brake instead of foot off the brake like we usually do. Hit the start button and it comes to life. One thing I really appreciate, and I've come to appreciate, you've seen this on the Santa Cruz, you've seen this on the Tucson, we have this new dash in here, and it's a 10.25-inch screen, and it is very, very nice. I'm gonna turn the climate off for a second just for volume. So here's the thing that I've noticed. This car happens to have a heads-up display. Now, depending on who you are and how you sit, some cars, I don't mind this screen at all, but it depends on the location. So for me, you can kind of see that the idea of a heads-up display is that you don't have to take your eyes off the road to see in your peripheral vision speed. You can sort of see it's a little bit low for me. Now, it actually looks bigger to me in person than it does to you on the camera. It's just for whatever reason, the way this films, it looks kind of small. This screen for me as a 6-footer is a little low. If I sat a little bit more down here and had the wheel adjusted, it would be sort of in my peripheral vision. And I will say, if this is something that you've always wanted in the past, with this new digital dash, I kind of feel like maybe that heads-up display isn't as necessary. And that doesn't mean it's not fantastic. It's very, very good. But because of the style of it and the way it's placed, if I have to kind of look down from the road as well, I almost enjoy looking down here better because this has, just to me, cleaner, nicer information. So no big complaint on that. It's nice to have it, but I noticed that Jason, who's driving this car, had the heads-up display retracted. And of course he knows it's there, but I don't blame him because this is all the information I need. So you can have that up, you can have it down, depends on what you want. But yeah, I do quite like this dash, and there's of course a lot of things in this dash you can see. The center information is basically the same as a lot of our other cars. You can see navigation information, you've got tire pressure monitors, you've got a lane keeping assist, which I believe is already on this car, yes. And let's go through driver attention warning as well on there. And then, of course, you have your speedometer. You can see some efficiency numbers. There's your energy flow. 15.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Hey, somebody did walk in with a teddy bear. They're helpful. Tim's here. Mr. Tim.
Hey, guys.
Thank you for bringing my teddy bear.
We had a call.
Turns out,
forgot the teddy bear.
Turns out somebody does listen to our videos.
So there is people that actually watch and listen.
Wow, amazing. All right, so teddy bear's here. We're going to throw him in the trunk later. You can see he takes up some of the front seat, but we'll talk about him in a second. So, oh, did you actually call that? Seriously, did you call? Oh, she did call reception. That's the best. All right, so that's awesome. Thank you. One of our regulars, I think Michelle, right? You called our office, and that's awesome. That's great. Okay, that's pretty funny. Real-time help from our live audience. This is why we do live videos. Anyways, back to what I was trying to show. You've got information. Okay, let me just pause for 2 seconds. How cool is that our live audience called our store to make sure that my video turned out to be a better video than it could have been? props to you. That was awesome. That was kind of fun. Our live audience, we kind of have a little family here, so that's pretty cool. All right, keep jumping back here, and that's how you know we're actually live. So again, 15 kilowatt hours per 100. Again, efficiency can really vary on this. What's interesting to me about this is I genuinely think this will be an alternative to the Ioniq 5 because the 64 kilowatt hour battery in this car is actually going to be larger than the entry-level Ioniq 5 battery. That car's a little bit bigger, so bigger and a smaller battery. This one's going to have probably more range. This one's also front-wheel drive. The other one's rear-wheel drive. And again, I'm not sure what efficiency numbers it puts out. We can talk about the super fast charging of the Ioniq 5, but if we're looking at the entry-level model, the entry-level Ioniq 5 will not have the super fast charging that we have. The entry-level Ioniq 5 will not have any more super fast charging than this car has right now. So this may be an option for some people, and you get some nice things in here as well. In addition to this 10.25 inch screen, you also have this 10.25 inch screen. So this one is, again, our newest software. You can see driver 1, driver 2. Jason's got this set up for him. If we go to the change user section, you can see Jason's set up over there. I'm going to keep it on driver 2, basically so that I don't mess up Jason's systems here. The reason driver 1 and driver 2 is important on this car, and I've kind of started using this thing, my regulars have heard me say this before, the driver 1, driver 2 setting is kind of like sharing a cell phone with someone. If you had to share a cell phone with me, you'd probably be not thrilled with the way I position things or which apps I have in spots, and even in a car, for instance, which safety features I have set and how sensitive some of those things are. In this car, there's a whole bunch of customizations, including your safety systems, how sensitive you want things to be, how much interaction you want. The car can steer itself, it can brake it for itself. So there are things that you may or may not want if you're the driver. So in addition to just being able to customize your presets on your radio, which of course looks pretty cool when we show you the radio over here, you also have the ability to, 6% is 382 kilometers. Let's just throw that back over there for a second. In fact, what we're gonna do is, let's see if we can bring up the EV specific stuff. And let's look at actual real world range on this car. So there's 86. This is how on a Kia or Hyundai vehicle and an EV, you're going to dig into roughly the real world range. So again, rated for 415. As this car sits, it's going to do about 449 kilometers. And that's assuming full charge. So you can see that 382 is 86% battery, 449. And I can tell you right now, this is real world numbers. We have seen these vehicles get over 500 kilometers with people who have a light foot. So driving this pretty much normally, 450 in the 3 seasons out of the 4 is pretty possible on these cars. In the winter, you're going to have a little bit lower range, and that will reflect in here as well. So there's sort of your range number in here, and there's a lot of features in here to go through. One of the things I really like about these 10.25 inch screens here is, first of all, it's very quick to touch, very simple to use. Works much like an iPad, so you can, you don't have to wait for a delay. It does work very well. But you can see all your driver assistance things. We've gone through a lot of these. This is where some of these customizations, let's just go to, let's just go blind spot safety, for instance. Blind spot safety here, you can set it for active assist. It's going to actively steer the car away from something if you try to steer into it. You may only want a warning. And again, if you have 2 different drivers sharing the car, some people are okay with the car actively assisting them. Some people may want a warning only. So being able to customize your user base in this, or drivers, is going to be helpful. So that's just one example. There's lane safety. There's all kinds of things. Anything that says assist, it's capable of steering or braking in certain situations. If it just says warning, then of course it's just the warning. Forward safety, same thing. Capable of braking, provides warning and vehicle control when a risk of a forward collision is detected. So it's capable of jamming on the brakes for you, essentially. So there's lots of things in here that are pretty cool. Smart cruise control as well, set to normal. Some people want a little slower or faster reaction time. So a lot of things in there. Again, just things you might want to customize. Let's go to the drive modes here. We'll show you Eco, Normal, Sport, and then you can change how they're set up. So Eco, Normal, and Sport in a electric car. This car has 290 foot-pounds of torque. And for just example, the Veloster N has less torque than this car does. So a lot of torque running through the front wheels here makes it very sporty. But what's kind of cool is when you set it in the eco mode, the car feels strong all the way around. Normal, it feels pretty fast, but the sport mode in this car is a drastic change from changing it to sport mode in a gas car. It is a strong acceleration. You can chirp the tires easily. If you didn't have traction control, keeping control of you would spin them right off the tires. But this car is very fast feeling in that sport mode specifically. So the drive modes here really do customize. They really do change for how you drive, and that's also a nice feature. Eco vehicle, smart regeneration. Let's just talk really quickly about what regeneration is. and why the Kia and Hyundai product is some of the best at this. And I'm going to say that better than Tesla. The smart regeneration. So basically, let's talk really quickly and then we'll go out and take your questions. Regeneration is basically you let off, I'm going to call it the gas pedal because that's what you guys know it as, but you let off the throttle. So you let off the gas pedal, and instead of like a gas car coasting, this car is going to brake. But you can set up the drive modes to let it fully coast. Or you can have 3 levels of regeneration. Now I say 3 because it's actually kind of 4-ish, but let's start with what they do for basics. Basically means as you start letting off the throttle pedal, the gas pedal, you're going to feel the car begin to actively brake. It's a very common thing in all EVs, and what that does is that active braking when you're not on the brake pedal means that it will use the electric motor to charge the battery. So the wheels are spinning the electric motor and sort of sending power the opposite way. The big thing is with this regeneration, excuse me, I had to take the camera off me there for a second. Big thing is with this regeneration is it puts a little bit of charge back in the battery and it saves your brakes. I mean, the reality is you're putting pretty good power back in, but you're not saving a ton of power. What you're really doing is you're saving your brakes. It takes that energy and replaces it back so you save your brakes. If you touch the brake pedal, it may only regenerative brake. In other words, it may only use that motor in reverse, or it may use all 4 wheel brakes to also brake. The key with this is being able to customize it on the fly. Kia and Hyundai vehicles have these little paddle shifters that can increase or decrease the amount of regenerative braking right on the fly. So you can tap it out. We can put it in drive here for a second. You can see there's a little, where's the little menu here? Oh, I don't know if I see it. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's right. It's different on this car because of the new dash. So you can see right here on the bottom, see the regeneration there? Right now it's going to increase and it's going to increase some more. That's by me tapping the paddle shifter, decrease and decrease. So that tells you how much when I let off the throttle, it's going to allow you to regenerate. Now what's cool about this, what's cool about this is this smart regeneration. Because this car, let me just put it in park again. Because this car can see vehicle braking, right? Some, that would be a lot. This would be some, that one level. So what it's going to do is if it sees a vehicle in front of you, it's going to give you some regeneration until you get closer to that vehicle. And then it's going to give you more and more regeneration, including up to max regeneration. So you get used to this whole one pedal driving that you hear with EVs. This car will customize. It'll let you coast a little bit further when you need to. But it'll brake a little bit more aggressively when there's vehicles in front of you. And it is super intuitive. It seems weird to explain, but it's a really good system. And they're going to bring that also into the Ioniq 5. It's something that Tesla doesn't do. And it's weird when you get so used to doing this on our cars to not have it in something like a Tesla. So it's one of the best systems out there. And I think it works very, very well. So that is a pretty cool system there for that smart regeneration. And you can do this on all of our previous EV, well, I say all of our 2020 and newer, maybe the 2019 Kona, all Kona Electrics, Nero EV, and the 2020 Soul EV and newer. They all have that smart regeneration in some menu somewhere. So that's a really cool feature there. The other thing that's really good, and just so you know, we're going to go take your questions in a second here. We got 51 people on right now. Let's go for 50 likes today. See if we can get to 50 likes and then goes that. What happens if you turn it off? The regeneration, then you coast. You won't recharge the batteries. You'll have to use your wheel brakes when you start braking. It will still probably use some regenerative braking. But if you turn the regeneration off, the car will just coast and coast and coast when you let go of the throttle. Most of us, I would say all of us, like a high percentage of EV drivers, like to keep these regeneration on to some level. I like it fairly strong in my car so that, again, I can release the pedal a little bit. If I released it fully, it would brake hard. But if I release it a little bit, it'll start to brake. And of course, your brake lights do turn on. If the car is braking in any way, your brake lights do turn on. They're not tied to the brake pedal the same way in a gas car. So we're going to take some questions here. One thing I want to point out before we get there, like we did, we already asked for likes, so we'll see if we can get to 50 likes today. The one thing that works really well in a electric car is our lane follow assist along with our smart cruise control. Smart cruise control, of course, can keep your distance between the car in front of you and the car behind, or car in front of you and yourself. So if you set the cruise for 110, somebody comes out in front of you going 100 kilometers an hour, you will slow down a little bit, keep your distance, and when they clear or you go to pass them, you can accelerate again to the set speed. So that works really, really well in this car. But I use my smart cruise control in my EV, which is a 2020 Kia Soul EV, very much similar technology to this car. I use it in traffic a lot because when you're in traffic with the smart cruise control, the car accelerates and brakes on its own, comes to a complete stop on its own. If you're stopped for too long, it'll ask you to just, when it's time to go, it'll tell you to tap the gas pedal or just hit this regeneration button. Actually, any one of those, I think, but this one for sure will go up, or you can press it in for resume. When you do that, it allows you to accelerate again. So really, really good. Why is the heat pump a big deal for electric cars? Is it due to our cold weather in Canada? Yes, we're going to talk about heat pumps in a second. That's a good question. So again, really quick to finish my thing. Smart cruise control and lane follow assist. The car will actively steer itself, also accelerate and brake on its own. Those are two things that are really, really awesome. The steering itself is not fully steer itself. What it is the ability to keep it centered in the lane, and Kia and Hyundai have one of the best systems out there when we come to the thing. Somebody says boring design. Okay, it's not for you. That's cool. No big deal. All right. I don't know if you're trying to troll us, it doesn't work around here. Okay, so let's keep going on here. Let's take some questions. Somebody asked about the heat pump and why it's important. Okay, first of all, my 2020 Kia Soul is the premium model. That is the lower range one, and I do not have a heat pump. I do, however, have the battery warming technology. The heat pump is important because basically what it does is as the car does the regenerative braking, it's going to create heat in there. If you have the heat pump, it essentially stores that heat in a can. Let's just simplify it. Stores it in a can. And when you turn on your heat, it will move that climate out there. So instead of running an electric heater to warm your car, it will also supplement it with the heat that is stored there. Now, is the heat pump important? Does it save a ton of electricity? I don't know. Like, if you're not doing a ton of regenerative braking, is it really creating that much heat? Certainly it's a good idea. More importantly is the battery warming technology that all these cars have. I think people get a little too stuck up on the heat pump. Unless you're needing every ounce of range out of your car, I certainly, with my car with only 250 kilometers of rated range, I don't have an issue in the winter with running out of range. But again, having that heat pump will create extra range. So I don't know if that helps. Let me go back, take some of your questions. Actually, we'll take a look at me here. So I'm gonna go back, see some more questions. See a whole bunch coming in here. The Toyota Camry Hybrid gets 57 highway and 52 city. Yeah, it does. I used to drive a Camry Hybrid. And you know what I did? Bought an electric vehicle from Kia and Hyundai. Same platform, basically. So we're having some fun here. People are trying to have some fun here. Do I prefer this one or my Soul? We'll talk about that one closer to the end of the video. That's a good question. I'll talk about the advantages of each one, why I chose mine, and why you may want to choose this one. What is this thing with SUV? Oh, okay. Oh, somebody prefers cars. That's okay. The Kona is very car-like compared to an SUV. And, okay, so we're going to start moving you on here. Somebody's getting a little time out. I prefer the Ioniq or the Elantra. That's cool. That's cool what you prefer. Okay. Yes, you should test drive. Sorry, I'm just going through a couple comments here, making sure I get to the questions. I love this car. Don't own one yet, but I'm leaning towards one. Yeah, test drive it. See what you think of it. I can tell you that when I bought my electric vehicle, lots of questions go through your head. It's an expensive vehicle, let's be honest. It is by far the best car I've ever owned, and I have zero regrets about getting one. So that's been good. Also, I was overestimating my need for range. Have had zero issues with range. And actually, charge time is not a big deal either. Okay. You guys are laughing that they put Teddy in the front seat? Yeah. Okay. Will they still make the Kona after the Ioniq 5 comes out? Yes. The Kona, at least the Ioniq 5 is coming out very, very soon now. And they will make this Kona to run alongside. And I do want to show you a little graphic on an internal document that I'm probably not allowed to show you, but we're going to take our risks here. Here is how the Ioniq 5 is going to come out. The Essential is going to have a 58 kilowatt hour battery, rear wheel drive. The Preferred is going to have the 58 kilowatt battery, rear wheel drive, the heat pump and the battery heating, and it's going to be an ultra fast EV charging. So this one is going to have the advantage, that ultra fast EV charging. This one, and it still has a smaller battery. So I wanted to show you here with my ugly, ugly handwriting. We are predicting the larger, let me just keep showing you here. Larger battery is the Preferred long range, Preferred all-wheel drive long range, and the Preferred all-wheel drive long range ultimate package, yada, yada, yada. What we're looking at here with the Ioniq 5, if you can read my terrible handwriting, 77.4 kilowatt hour battery. That's bigger than the 64 kilowatt hour battery we have in the Kona. They're predicting on the Kia or Hyundai Canada website right now 470 to 480 kilometers of rated range. This one is 415 kilometers range. So you're going to have more range. It's got more battery. You can see, though, that the 58 kilowatt hour battery on the lower trim levels is lower than the 64 kilowatt hour battery. So if you want range, you may still be opting for the Kona in the price range, and you will get more features on this Ultimate than you will on an equivalently priced or similarly priced Ioniq 5. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, there was somebody asked a question. Oh yeah, which one do I prefer? Let's take Teddy Bear using what he's actually made to do. We'll show you the trunk first. All right, popping open the trunk here. Trunk is folded down. You can remove that panel there. The nice thing about the Kona is it is a hatchback. You can fit a large item in there. Why don't we keep the seats down for a second? Well, we'll just show you the seats for a second. I got to put them up in a second anyway, so we'll throw them up there as well. They are down there. You can see they're not quite flat. Some people always want to know whether they're flat or not. I do have to move that passenger seat forward, so let's just put the other, you know what? Let's just move it forward. Teddy Bear is going to take a little space out here. Teddy Bear is a big dude. Dudette? I'm not sure if I think Teddy's kind of gender neutral. All right, so we'll put that seat a little bit forward, and we're going to put the Kona rear seats up. And see if we can do this one from here as well. There we go. All right, still got the plastic on the seats, so there we go. Does it have a frunk? It does not. This car is designed off the gasoline platform. It was designed to be a full EV, but all of our electric motor and stuff is up here. So if you want, we'll look under the hood later in this video. All of the battery is down low, and there is no frunk in this one. You will see on the next generation platform, there are some flexible features there because the platform itself will have the EV motors built into the front and rear if it's full rear drive, and that'll be on the Ioniq 5. All right, so on the Kona, here's my Teddy Bear here. LED rear lighting here, right there. And this floor you can drop down, but I'm not going to because Jason has a little extra blanket. You know what, we're gonna do it. Drop it down like that. So again, you gain a few inches there. We had it on this level right here. You can see how quickly we were able to drop it down there. And that's gonna matter because Teddy's a little bit pudgy. And I don't wanna say that there's a problem with that because I think that's part of his charm. But when Teddy's primary job is hopping in trunks, being a little pudgy can be a problem. So you can see when that panel closes, it's just gonna touch his belly. If we had it up a few inches higher, that panel may not shut correctly and Teddy wouldn't have a ton of space. Now, why are we using a Teddy Bear? Basically, if I filled your screen with this trunk, you would have a tough idea knowing what's going on compared to other vehicles. So many of our videos, we use Teddy Bear to compare the size, and you can see here, Teddy Bear fits in pretty good. Similar to the Soul as far as length, maybe a hair longer than the Soul, but yeah, it's just, very similar. Not a massive trunk, but I think if you can fit a large Teddy Bear in here, you can fit your groceries for the week for a large family, certainly larger than it would fit in the Kona. All right, we'll shut this down for a second. I'm gonna close this door as well. Do want to show you the rear seats as well. So we'll go with rear seat space. This is, why isn't the new Hyundai, oh, sorry, there's a question that came in, I just missed it. I'll get back to it in 1 second. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is sit myself behind myself. So this seat was set up for where I would sit. That's where I'm gonna sit right now. How's it go? Well, not bad. Couple things you're gonna notice in here. Headroom out of the Kia Soul, Kia Niro, and Hyundai Kona, which share a lot of the powertrain components here. A little bit less headroom here. Is it enough for me? Yes. If you're gonna take a 6-footer, you're fine. Now, if you get in a gasoline Kona, and that's your only way of comparing this car, because let's say you have to order it or whatever else, one thing of note is, we'll try to show you here. Well, it'll be hard to show you, but we'll try to do our best. The floor here is a little higher than it is in the gasoline car. So you do have one little compromise to make, and that is my feet are a little bit higher up off of the ground, off of the seat. And that's because, again, there's a raised floor in there. And then you can see sitting behind myself, I'm not too bad. Like I fit back here, but there's not a ton of extra space without sort of spreading my legs out. But it's knee space behind there for a 6-footer. It's a little bit more snug in the Kona. If you're considering the Kona, primarily you would be 2 people or 2 people with smaller kids. If you are taking 4 adults around, there are other options in the Kia Hyundai lineup that you may want to consider that have a little bit more rear seat space. That's the only compromise with the Kona. Now, what it does in return is returns to you more rated range than something like the Niro or the Soul. So that's kind of the compromise to get that higher range out of the same power plant as something like the Soul or the Kona from the Kia world. All right, we're gonna go back, take your questions. Actually, you know what? Why don't we pop the hood real quickly because you guys were wondering about the frunk. And let's just show you what actually is underneath there. There is no frunk in this car, which is a front trunk common on certain styles of electric vehicles, and you'll see that from us in the future. All right. Oh, this one my Soul has. Hold on a second, guys. My Kia Soul, sorry for the terrible camera work. My Kia Soul does not have the prop rod. It has the struts, so this one is there. Now, you're gonna see the exact same cover that is in my Kia Soul because this is the exact same powertrain, essentially. My Soul happens to be a less powerful motor. I think it's the same motor, just rated for less, But you do have a car battery out here, 12-volt battery. Things are set very low in here, lower than the gasoline engine. And of course, most of the weight is batteries underneath there. But because it was designed and crash tested and safetied with a gasoline engine here, this is a really good spot to put a whole bunch of things. All right, terrible camera work again as I use my 2 hands. Remember, it's COVID time. I'm supposed to work alone here. All right, so we'll shut the hood down. There we go. And we're going to go back and take your questions. Now, we have 61 people on, 42 likes. We were aiming for 50 likes. We're going to go all out for 60 likes. I don't know if we can get there, but you guys have to see if we can. I'll do my best. I promise you, I'll give you the best answers I can. I'll give you the best information I can. The only thing I ask in return, I'll give you 30, 40 minutes if we have to. The only thing I ask in return is that you spend that 1 split second clicking that like button. So we kind of went all out here. Oh, we got to 52 in a hurry. That was super nice of you guys. All right, let me flip back to here. And just while we're at it, guys, flip back over here. If you guys want to see more videos like this, I always announce what we're doing on my Instagram page. So you can follow me on Instagram there, except for yesterday when Instagram went down. But you can always follow me there and see what's going on. If you're going to miss the live video, you can comment on my Instagram story, ask me your question there, and I'll try to get it in the real thing. So yeah, that was all pretty cool, you guys. You guys really came through with the likes there. We're at 56 all of a sudden. All right, let me go back to your questions. I'll do what I can here for you. Where are we here? Worry about going to the trailer with 3 grandkids. 2 are still in booster seats, and the range is a concern if it's only 85. Range is not a concern if it's only 85 kilometers. So you can fit kids in booster seats in here. This isn't an issue. I think the issue is if you are trying to fit several people my size, you're going to want to keep the trips a little shorter. So booster seats, I don't think it'd be a problem. Take them to the dealer and see how they fit. Width-wise and length-wise, again, same thing as a gas car. It's just that floor that's a little bit raised. So that would be something you'd have to consider there. When will the new Sportage K3 be released? We'll get to the off-topic questions in a second. So if I forget to ask about the new Sportage K3, when those are released, remind me at the end of this video. We'll just try to stay on topic for a few more minutes here. Why isn't the Creta sold in Canada? Stonic. So some of these cars aren't sold in Canada just because Canada's figured that they weren't, the local Kia and Hyundai Canada have decided that those aren't cars for our market. There we go. Oh, am I at the edge of my Wi-Fi range? That could be. Really looking forward to the same in-depth look at the Kia Niro EV. So the Niro EV, the next one is coming in, I think within the next month or so. We will do another Niro EV video as well. Of course, Ioniq 5, EV6, all of those vehicles are coming in the future. We'll do them all as well. Albert's letting me know this is my 1200th video. That's cool. I got 30,000 subscribers just the other day too. Okay. Have you done a 2022 Soul LX video? Yes. What's the max charge rate, DC and AC? So one thing I want to talk about, I don't know if I have the max charge rate on here, but I do want to show you this screen, this page here. The previous Kona EV had this listed as charge times. You can pause the screen if you want, but keep in mind, the new Soul EV that I'm talking about today, the facelifted model, has this listed for charge times, but I want to read this above you. There was no specification change in battery. However, the standard for calculating charging time was changed with the facelift. So just keep in mind that there is a different charge times listed. The way I'm reading this is that there's actually no change. It's just that the, oh boy, just that the charge times were changed because of a new standard of calculating. So you may see a 20-minute faster charge time listed there on the 7.2 kilowatt hour battery, but you may not see, that may actually not be a whole lot of change. So there we go. Showed up late to give a like. I'll watch the video later. Interested in the Kona EV, especially because the price dropped substantially. Yeah, that's the other thing. The Kona EV is fairly competitive price-wise. Let's just show you what's going on here. Again, Kona EV, the equivalent Kia Niro right now to the Ultimate is over $50,000. This is a hair under. Keep in mind there are $5,000 Canadian government discounts on these two cars, the Preferred and the Ultimate. So $49,100 is a lowered price, and I think there are deals to be had on some of these cars right now. And that $49,100, again, with a $5,000 government discount, puts it into a closer range there. So there we go. So yeah, somebody says, wow, it dropped $5,000 from last year. I don't know if it's $5,000 exactly. You guys will remember the prices before better than I do. I got a lot of prices in my head. So it definitely has come down, and that makes it more attractive, I think. And like I said, that's going to put it in a really interesting price point when you start looking at the Ioniq 5 coming out. The Ioniq 5 is going to be good for a lot of people, but this one at the price point is going to give you a lot more options for the price point. So I think, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to leave it there for now. We hit 64 likes, and I appreciate that. What we're going to do is, if you want to see more of this vehicle, or any vehicle like it, some of our EV lineup, just let me know, because we're not a review channel. We are a dealership group. We pull these EVs in all the time. I'm a bit of an EV junkie myself. We did a lot of Sorento PHEV. We're going to do a Santa Fe PHEV, plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, later this month. I like talking about these cars, and I find that there's a lot of either misinformation or lack of information online about them, so we want to be the leader in information on them. We want to give you as much information as we can. If I don't know, we'll find out more, and we'll go from there. But I think we'll leave this vehicle there. There are some off-topic questions. Somebody asked when the new Sportage and K3 will be released to Canada. K3, if it's called the K3, right now it's called the 2022 Kia Forte. I don't actually have a date on. New Sportage, I'm expecting to see it in January-ish. We will see a hybrid, say March-ish. And PHEV is expected in that car as well next summer. So that's when the Sorento or Sportage is coming out. And I'm not sure about the 2022 Forte, which I've been calling the K3 for a while. All right, let me just go back to some questions here, and we'll let you finish up with your questions. And I'll do my best to answer as many as I can live, and then we'll finish it up. If you've asked a question and I missed it, feel free to re-ask that question. Do I sell the front trunk box to increase the load space, i.e. put your cables in? No. So I got to be really honest with the front trunk box. I know a lot of you like those. There's an accessory that is made not from Hyundai, not from Kia, that replaces that engine cover, the motor cover, and it's a place where people are using to store some things. Online, publicly, I'm not going to recommend that, only because this car has been crash tested. There are things, I don't know how well that thing's going to last under various conditions. What happens if it cracks and you have a cable draining through? Things can go wrong. So I'm not going to recommend it here, but you guys can search online for some of those things and decide for yourself. I know there are a lot of people that are quite happy with that. I just don't recommend putting anything where the manufacturer doesn't recommend putting anything. But I know that, like I said, there are aftermarket components out there. I know about them. I got to be careful about recommending things that I'm not really involved with at all. Can I bring an Ioniq 5 and PHEV to a video? Yes, Ioniq 5, when it comes out, will be on video. We'll be doing it a bunch. How's the winter grip with all the torque? That's a really good question. So 290 foot-pounds of torque through here. Winter driving with my own personal Kia Soul EV, I have the Nexen tires. That's what's on this car. The Niro has the Michelin tires. The Nexen tires are really good for fuel efficiency. They're an efficient tire. They're not great in the snow. Not terrible. However, the traction control on EVs is phenomenal. So I do recommend switching to winter tires in most Canadian areas because I think it'll give you the extra traction. You will lose some range, but I think you'll appreciate the extra traction, and then it simplifies your service schedule because you want to get these things in for service regularly as well. What I do is when I take it in to swap my tires, they take a peek at it. Take it to swap my tires in the fall again, they take a peek at it. And you do want to do brake maintenance services on EVs. The brakes aren't always very used. They can develop some rust, especially in the Canadian climate with all the salt. So you want to make sure that everything's sliding and gripping and doing that correctly. And some of those EV services can just be checked over while you're doing a tire swap, and you don't have to worry about mileage with if you're doing tire swaps for the most part, for most people. So that's what I do. Again, I do recommend winter tires on these cars. You don't need them. It's going to depend on your driving environment. But if you are the kind of person like me it's kind of a safety nut, I like to have all the safety equipment. I like to have safer vehicles. I do recommend winter tires. And just these EV tires are pretty good, but like you said, there's 291 foot-pounds of torque going through there. You start getting into the throttle when you're on the winter, and that can be something that there's just a lot of power in this car, right? So there we go. All my cars have winter tires, I said. All right, I think that's the way we're gonna leave it. So again, if you want to see more videos, just let us know. We hit 69 likes. We can go for one more, make it 70. That'd be fun. We will be back here again tomorrow. Haven't decided. We are going to bring another hybrid back in this week, probably a Hyundai hybrid, and more coming in this week as well. So thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks for all the likes and the comments. It's been fun. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.